Well, I wanted you to know that I was surprising you with something, said Jordan, but I obviously did not want to spoil the surprise for you. Come on, that would be such a bad thing to do. I swear if you try to surprise me again, I will kick you, said Destiny. She saw the landscape passing by as they traveled. It was all so beautiful. Her best friend was going to love it here, she just knew it. She knew that when Chantal finally got here, all of the things that she had been so desperate to see would finally be right there in front of her. She had been dying to come here for so long, said Destiny. I told you so long ago that she wanted to come here. When you did not respond, I thought that meant that you did not want her here. Of course I want her here, said Jordan. She is your best friend. She means so much to you. I want you to have everything that you could possibly want. How could I possibly keep this from you? Well, this is your home, said Destiny. You are under no obligation to allow someone into your home, someone whom you do not want to come here. I mean, I would have been perfectly okay with it if you did not want her here, because you are already doing so much to take care of me. I cannot possibly expect you to house yet another guest. Listen to me, said Jordan. I need you to understand one thing. I am not going to take away any happiness. Do you understand? I am not going to prevent you from getting anything that you could possibly want. Whatever it is that you desire, it is going to be yours. That much I can promise you, all right? If you want me to do something, to take you somewhere, or get your something, or get someone for you, all you have to do is ask. There is nothing in this world that I am not prepared to do for you, and I promise you that I am not lying when I say that. I promise you that I am telling you nothing but the truth here. I honestly can't think of a single thing that I would not do for you. This is not because I want anything in return, it is simply because I want you to have absolutely anything and everything that you could possibly want. Do you understand? I only act this way because, well, what I feel for you is absolutely true. There is nothing in that is not genuine. And I hope you realize the way I behave really is proof of this. It is proof, said Destiny. But you do not need to prove it. I see it in pretty much every single thing you do, you know, the fact that what you feel for me is true and genuine. I hope you know that I really appreciate everything that you do for me. Everything that you do for us. She picked up his hand and placed it on her stomach. Jordan looked at her and smiled. It seemed like the single happiest smile he had ever made in his life, filled with light and joy. It was pretty clear that he was happy right now, and there was nothing in the world that could possibly take away from his joy in this moment. Destiny continued to hold her man's hand as she looked out the window. The airport was close now, and she felt her heart clench with excitement as she realized this. The airport was close, and this meant that she was finally going to meet her best friend again. She looked at Jordan and said, "Thank you for this. I feel like I should thank you for every single thing that I have in my life right now. But thank you especially for, well, bringing Chantal to me. I really did miss my friend a lot, you know, and I just felt like she has been away from me for far too long." "I agree," said Jordan. "You need all of the moral support that you can possibly get here. Besides, I had a feeling that you might be getting bored. You do not have anyone here but me, Remy, and the doctor. That is not a very pleasant situation for someone to be in. I have a feeling that you would start feeling like you are going crazy if you did not get some female company sometime soon, and who better to give you that female company than your own best friend?" "That is true," said Destiny. I feel like have everything going for me right now. It is such a good feeling. My best friend is here. I am living in such a wonderful place. I do not think I want for anything right now. And that is just the way it should be, said Jordan, squeezing her hand and smiling at her. As they approached the airport, Destiny saw a plane in the air. Is that her? She asked excitedly. Jordan looked out of his window and saw the plane. He said, "Well, that is definitely my plane, there is no doubt about it." "Oh my God," said Destiny. "She is here! My best friend in the whole world is finally here. I can't believe it." She could barely sit still in her seat due to the enormous amount of excitement that she was feeling. "Drive faster, Remy," she said. "We need to get to the airport before she does. I do not want my best friend to have to wait for me." "As you wish, mademoiselle," said Remy, and he started to drive even faster. Destiny looked out the window and saw that there were a great many things that she would enjoy if she lived here. The greenery, having all of these servants, and a personal airport only a short distance away. This would certainly be a good way to live life, and she realized that she was warming up to the idea. It was the first time she realized this, and in doing so she took yet another step towards warming up to the idea of being with Jordan. They reached the airport, and the plane landed. Luckily, they had managed to get there just in time. As soon as the plane touched down and taxied to a stop, Destiny got out of the car to stand and wait for her friend. The plane came to a stop and the car went to where it had stopped. The door opened and there stood Chantal. "Chantal," said Destiny. "Destiny," said Chantal. The two best friends ran towards each other and hugged. It had been so long since either of them had seen each other, they were starting to realize just how much they loved each other. When you see someone every single day, you tend to forget just how important a role they play in your life. However, when you find that a person has been absent from your life for a period of time, you start realizing just how important that person is to you and just how much a part of your life they are. As Destiny hugged Chantal, she realized just how deeply she loved her best friend. She realized that with all that was going on, she had forgotten the one person that had always been by her side, the one person that had always supported her no matter what had been happening. Chantal was the most important person in Destiny's life, and she was well aware of this fact. She was also suddenly aware of the fact that Jordan was extremely important too, and that he was starting to gain more and more importance by the day. Eventually, it would be Chantal, Jordan, and the child that was currently in her belly that would become the most important people in her life. And then, of course, there was her father, someone who held a different status altogether. Even if she got with Jordan, her father would remain the most important man in her life, and she would know that this was true no matter what happened. She did not want to think about her father right now, however, because she knew that this was going to be a problem later on. She had not told her father yet that she was pregnant. She wondered just what his reaction was going to be when he found out. She pushed the thought from her mind. There was no point in thinking about such things right now. Her best friend in the whole world was here now, and she was going to be with her for a while. She knew that this was important, so it was what she decided to focus on. "How are you feeling?" asked Chantal. "You look so good. Pregnancy really seems to suit you." "It does not it?" asked Destiny. "I noticed that too. And I feel like with everything that is going on, the fact that pregnancy suits me seems to take a load off of my shoulders in a way, you know?" "I understand," said Chantal. The fact that you look good allows you to relax a bit, at least about trying to look pretty. How are you feeling, though? How is the pregnancy going? It is going absolutely fine, said Destiny. I am healthy and perfectly happy, and I do not know if I am going to have any problems in the pregnancy. I think everything is going to end up being just fine at the end of the day. I am so glad to hear that, said Chantal. Really, I am. You have no idea how worried I have been while I have been away from you. I kept fearing that. Oh, I do not know. I kept being scared that you would get hurt or that something would happen. And I was scared of the fact that you were so far away that if anything happened, anything at all, I would not be able to help you simply because I was so far away from you. It was so frustrating. But none of that matters anymore because I am here now, right here with you. It's all thanks to Jordan, said Destiny. By the way, Chantal, this is Jordan. Destiny pulled her friend to the car and showed her the man that was the father of her child. It is a pleasure to finally meet you, said Chantal, shaking his hand. Likewise, said Jordan, I really appreciate you coming here. I mean, I know that you were going to come here regardless, but I just want you to know that you are doing us a huge favor. You are helping us out. Well, I am here now, said Chantal, and I am going to be here for a while so you guys can just relax. I can't believe you are going to spend a whole month here, said Destiny. Oh, I am going to be spending a lot longer here than that, said Chantal. What do you mean? Asked Destiny. How long are you going to be spending here? Well, said Chantal, I am going to be here for the next 8 months. What? Asked Destiny. You are going to be here for 8 whole months? That is incredible. How did you manage to get so much time off from the airline? Jordan put in a word for me, said Chantal. I have a few contacts in the airline, said Jordan. You see, the owner of the airline is a friend of mine. And he owes me a favor as well. So when I told him that I wanted him to give one of his employees 8 months paid vacation, he couldn't disagree. He had to do it. That is so amazing, said Destiny. And you are getting paid and everything. I am so happy right now I could throw up. Oh, wait. Destiny keeled over a little. She was suddenly feeling nauseous. Are you okay? Asked Jordan, rushing to her and rubbing her back. Yeah, do not worry, said Destiny, although she was quite worried herself. I am sure that this is nothing to worry about. I guess I just need to lie down for a bit. What is going on? Asked Chantal. What are you feeling? I just feel nauseous, said Destiny. I do not know why. I never feel it at this time, you know. I usually get it in the morning or something. Let us head back, said Jordan. We are going to show this to Dr. Eisenhower. He will tell you what is going on, and he will tell us if there is anything we can do to stop this. They headed back to the estate, all of them worried about what was going to happen. Destiny, in particular, was not ready for this. She did not know if she would be able to handle it if something were to happen to her baby. She was starting to feel alarmed. She was 3 months in. Should she be worried about complications so early? She needed to get through this somehow, and she held Jordan and Chantal's hands so that they could comfort her. The most important people in her life were happy to do so. As they approached the estate, Destiny felt as if she was being taken to the gallows. She felt like she was going to be told that her baby was injured or hurt in some way. That was the only possible explanation for what was happening here. What other reason could there possibly be for what was happening right now? She did not know, and she did not think that she could handle the stress of something like this at this point in time. When they got to the estate, Chantal rushed Destiny up to her room and Jordan rushed to fetch the doctor. When the doctor arrived, he immediately folded up his sleeves and examined Destiny. "Well," said the doctor after checking using an ultrasound, "the baby seems absolutely fine. Unless you felt any pain or anything at all, I think you are going to be all right." Such things are not unheard of. "I do think that you will have a safe pregnancy. There is no reason for anything wrong to happen. Just listen to me. If you feel cramps, do not worry about them. That is just your uterus making room for your child. But if the pain becomes sharp or piercing, you must call me immediately. You are going to have to go to a hospital then." "What could the problem possibly be?" asked Destiny. The doctor sighed and said, "Your baby is being undernourished. This is not a real problem that has been caused by you or anything you have done. It has simply been caused by the fact that your uterus is shaped in an odd way, which stops the umbilical cord from getting all of the necessary nutrients to your child. This is nothing to worry about at the moment. Your child does get all of the nutrients in the end, it just takes longer. However, if you feel a sharp pain, that could mean that the lack of nutrients is starting to give your child some health problems and it is in discomfort. If you get into fetal trauma, that could be a problem. I am just laying out the possibilities for you here. Hope for the best, plan for the worst, as they say." At this point, however, the possibility of something like this happening is rather unlikely. Instead, you are going to have a normal pregnancy. If you end up feeling any more discomfort as time goes on, we will tackle it when the time comes. However, for now I think the best thing for you to do would be to simply relax and not let any of this get to you. Okay? Okay, said Destiny, I guess. I do not know how I can possibly relax in a situation like this, though. You just need to be careful, said the doctor. Keep going out for walks, you need the exercise, but do not walk too fast. And when you are not out for your walk, try to stay off of your feet, all right? You need to be resting at all times when you are not exercising. He turned to Jordan and said, just spoil her from now on. Give her all of her meals in bed, and do not let her get up too often. If she feels any discomfort at all, you call me and we will handle it. There is no reason to panic at all. All you need to do from now on out is to be careful so that we can be sure that your baby does not come out hurt in any way. And just like that, the doctor left them. They sat there in that room, suddenly worried about what the future could bring. They sat there and worried about what could possibly happen to them right now. They sat and worried about so many things, but at the end of the day there was very little that they could do except for sitting and waiting for a miracle to happen. Eventually, Chantal started cracking jokes to lighten the mood, and it certainly did lighten up. Destiny wanted to be alone for a bit, and both Chantal and Jordan knew that she needed this more than she needed them hanging around her and being all up in her personal space, so Destiny suggested that Jordan take Chantal to some of the nightclubs in Bordeaux so that they could stay out of Destiny's way. They were both a little uncertain about leaving Destiny alone, but she insisted, and at the end of the day they had to listen to her and do as she said. They left and Destiny was left on her own. She started to cry, and as she cried she felt the weight of the world on top of her shoulders. How could anyone deal with this at all? She was starting to feel like she would crumble under the pressure of being pregnant. She wanted it to be over, but more than that, she wanted her father to be here. It had been too long now. She had to tell her father what was going on so that he would come here and help her. She wondered if he would be angry with her. She decided that the only way to find out how he was going to react was to tell him what was going on. She had made her decision. She would talk to Jordan about it in the morning, and then she would call her father. Chapter 11. I need my father to be here, said Destiny. I have been pregnant for over 3 months now, and my father has no idea what is going on in my life. He deserves to know, and I need him to be around me as well. I need him to calm me down and tell me that everything is going to be okay. Okay, said Jordan, of course. Your father can come and stay here. He has his shop to run, said Destiny. Well, I am sure that he would want to stay here with you, said Jordan. Perhaps he can hire someone to run his shop for him. That would be a good idea, no? Yes, maybe, said Destiny. I just really do not want to inconvenience him in any way. I wish that I was able to go to him somehow, but the thing is that I know he would want to come here. Call him, said Jordan. Call him and tell him what is going on. He deserves to know, does not he? He needs to be sure that you are safe as well. So just go and call him and let your heart out. You do not have to worry about anything else. I will send my plane to go and pick him up, and when he is here we can tell him together, or you can tell him on your own, whichever one of the 2 options you would prefer. I think I would prefer to tell him with you, said Destiny. You are the father of my child. He deserves to meet you as well. And I think that this will help to soften the blow as well, you know? It would allow him to see that everything is going to be all right for me, and that I will be able to enjoy my life even if he heads back and focuses on his shop. All right, said Jordan. Call him whenever you can, and tell him that he needs to come here. Okay, said Destiny. I will call him now. She dialed his number from her phone and called him up. He answered with the same old voice, the same old expression. She felt love that she had not felt in a very long time indeed, love that seemed to consume her and eat her whole. This love was all that mattered to her right now. It was the only love that seemed to make any sense at all in this moment. Dad, said Destiny. Destiny, said her father. You haven't called in a while. I was starting to get worried. How is everything up in New York? I am actually not in New York, Dad, said Destiny. What? Asked her father. If you are not in New York, where are you? I am in Bordeaux, said Destiny. Bordeaux? Asked her father. Isn't that in France? Are you on a trip with your airline? No, Dad, said Destiny. I am here because... Well, I need you to come here. Whenever you can. It is not a problem or anything. I just need you to meet someone and I need you to see something. Is that okay? Well, I can come on down, I guess, said Arthur. You can just relax, honey. I will come over there as soon as I can. I will be free in about a month. Is that okay? That is perfectly fine, Dad, said Destiny. You can come here whenever you want, okay? Just let me know. And do not worry about the ticket or anything. I will arrange all of that for you. Well, now you do not have to do that, said Arthur. I can pay for the ticket myself. I won't have to pay for the ticket either, Dad, said Destiny. Oh, are you getting some sort of discount from the airline? Something like that, said Destiny. Yeah, I guess you could say that, Dad. All right, said her father, you just relax. Daddy's going to come and see you soon, honey. I will be there in just a month. Do not worry about a thing, sweetie pie. After that, they disconnected the call. Just like that, it had been settled Destiny's father was going to come to her. Destiny was nervous. She was starting to feel a lot heavier now that she was over 4 months pregnant. The doctor had said that everything was fine so far, but she had felt pain, and it was not the kind of pain that she had been expecting. Rather, it was the sort of pain that he had warned her about. When she told the doctor about this, he conducted some tests and frowned and then said that she needed to stop going out for walks. Instead, she needed to do nothing but stay in bed all day. Although this was a proposition that seemed to be really great for Destiny, she couldn't help but feel a little stressed out about it. On any other day, she would have felt excited about the fact that she could just stay in bed all day and do nothing at all. However, if she did not work as hard as she possibly could to relax and keep herself off of her feet, it might end up affecting the health of her child, and this was not something that Destiny could think about right now. There was a general mood of unease at home. Jordan was stressed out, and as much as Chantal tried, she could not make either of them laugh as much as she wanted to. She knew that this was going to be a rather difficult situation to deal with, so she tried to lighten the mood as much as she could, but she more often than not failed to do so. The only thing that brightened Destiny's mood was the fact that her father was going to come to this estate today. When Destiny had told him that there was going to be a private plane that was going to be picking him up, he had thought that she was making fun of him. When she had assured him that she was not doing anything of the sort and that there was actually going to be a private plane waiting for him and a chauffeur-driven car to take him to the private airstrip that the plane would be waiting at, Arthur Huffman seemed understandably confused. Destiny was a little worried about how she was going to break the news to her father. He would see her stomach and he would know what was going on pretty much immediately, of course. There was no doubt about the fact that he would be able to see what was under her clothes, the fact that she was pregnant, no matter how much Destiny tried to hide it. However, there was the question of how her father was going to react. She did not know how he was going to react because he had changed so much over the years. The death of Destiny's mother had made it a little difficult for him to go on being as stern as he had been before. He had softened quite a bit after that. Over the years he had gotten more and more accepting, more and more understanding, and now it was very possible that he would not mind at all the fact that she was pregnant. He might not judge her even slightly for this fact. Then again, he might just revert back to his old self and be angry with her for allowing something like this to happen to her. It had been her responsibility to keep herself safe from things like this. He had never prevented her from playing with boys or going out or anything of the sort, but he had told her that whatever she did she would have to be as careful as possible because there were so many different bad things that could happen. And now, here Destiny was, living one of those bad scenarios that her father had kept telling her about. It was not all that bad now that she thought about it, but her father might not agree with this. She and Jordan were not even in a relationship, let alone married, and that might be something her father disapproved of as well. She sighed. There was no way of knowing how her father was going to react except for seeing how he reacted when she told him. Eventually, the time came. She wanted to go to the airport to pick her dad up, but both Chantal and Jordan insisted that she stay in bed. They knew that she was going to strain herself by getting out of bed again and again, and she needed to stay under the covers to protect the health of her child. She went up to the TV and sat in front of it as she waited. There was nothing else, really, that she could possibly do in this situation except for wait. So wait she did. She waited as much as she possibly could, and eventually she realized that she could not wait any longer. She went out to the balcony and began to wait there. She stood there for about 10 minutes until she saw a car in the distance. It was them, there was no doubt about it. It was Jordan's car, with Jordan and Chantal bringing Destiny's father to her. There was so much here that could go wrong, but she did not care about that anymore. She did not care about the fact that she had to tell her father something like this. She did not care about the fact that her father was probably going to be upset. All she cared about was her father being here once again and telling her that he loved her. As the car got closer, she had to resist the urge to run downstairs and greet them. She knew that both Jordan and Chantal would freak out if they found out that she had gotten out of bed. Hence, once the car was 2 minutes away, she just sat down onto her bed again and sighed. This was almost like a prison sentence. She was starting to feel like a prisoner now, and she knew that this was going to last 4.5 more months. After all this time, she was starting to realize that maybe getting pregnant had not been worth it. Maybe it had not been something that she should have done. She heard the car pull into the driveway. Her father was going to be among the vines of the vineyard now. She wondered if he would like them, if he would appreciate them as much as she had. She had a feeling that he would. He was the kind of person that enjoyed natural beauty. He seemed to appreciate absolutely everything around him at all times. That was one of the things that Destiny loved most about her father. Within 10 minutes, they were upstairs and knocking on her door. Destiny called out to them, telling them that they could come in. The door opened with a tentative creak and in came her father. He looked at her for a long time and then his mouth broke into a joyous grin. "Destiny," said her father, "you're pregnant." "Oh my God!" He came up to her and held her hand. "You look so good, honey. Why didn't you tell me that you were pregnant?" I didn't know how you were going to react," she said. "I didn't want you to be disappointed in me." "Honey," said her father, "there is no way that I could ever be disappointed in you. I am so proud of you for everything. I am sorry if you ever felt that way, or if I ever made you feel that way. But I am so glad that you are pregnant. I just wish that your mother were here to see this. To see the birth of our very own grandchild. It's something she would have loved very much. And she would have loved this place as well, with all of the greenery and everything. Is this fellow, Jordan, the father?" "Yes," said Destiny, eager to hear what her father thought of the father of her child and nervous at the same time because her father might just not like him and that would end up causing a lot of problems for everybody. Arthur Huffman grinned again and said, "I like him. He seems like a very nice person. And he seems to be really in love with you, you know. That sort of thing doesn't happen all that often." Jordan came up and Arthur turned around and said, "You seem like a nice enough fellow. I hope you are taking good care of my daughter." "I am, sir," said Jordan. "Taking care of her is my #1 priority these days." "Dad," said Destiny, "he's the father of my child, but we still don't know if we want to be together or not." After the child is born, I mean. Well, that's besides the point, said Arthur. He needs to take good care of you because you are the mother of his child, and that is what a man should do. Yes, said Jordan, nodding his head solemnly, that is exactly right, sir. I agree with you completely. Destiny couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe what was happening right now. Her father was more than happy that she was pregnant and only regretted that her mother could not be here with them right now so that she could see what a beautiful thing was happening right now. Not only that, but her father actually liked Jordan and appreciated him as a person. This was beyond anything Destiny could ever have hoped for. It was like something out of a dream. She pinched herself just to be sure of the fact that she was not, in fact, dreaming, and the pain she suddenly experienced reassured her of the fact that this was, indeed, the case. She sighed with joy, and all of them sat down to have lunch together. Maybe everything was going to work out after all, and when they finally got to the point where she would give birth to her child, they would be able to see this situation for what it truly was. She was immensely glad of everything that had happened so far, and she looked forward to seeing where the future was going to take her. She had a feeling that where it took her, it was going to be lovely. Little did Destiny know, disaster was just around the corner, and there was nothing she could do about it. Chapter 12. Destiny was in her 8th month of pregnancy, and as far as anyone could tell, nothing bad had happened. She had a sense of paranoia, however, due to the fact that so many people had warned her about something bad happening. Her father fretted over her quite a bit and made sure that she was comfortable in every single way. Between her father and Jordan, Destiny was completely unable to get anything done, but she did not mind all that much. After all, they were only doing this because they cared about her and wanted her to be safe at all times. It was endearing, in a way, for her to be so well treated. It made her feel like she was worth something, like he was important to them, and while she was in such a vulnerable state, she needed people around her that made her feel this way. It was all that she could do to keep herself from screaming her lungs out, and now that she had people around her that were taking care of her every need, she felt like she might just be able to handle the situation a little bit better. She was walking along the fields with Jordan one sunny afternoon and enjoying the beautiful view. You know, she said to Jordan, the due date is coming up and we still haven't talked about names. I mean, I know that I have not really made a decision yet, but that does not mean that we cannot think of a name for our own child. That's true, said Jordan. I think we should talk about it now. It would be a nice topic, after all. What do you say? I agree, said Destiny. What sort of names do you have in mind? Would you like to discuss boys' names first or girls? Asked Jordan. What are you hoping for? Asked Destiny. I think I am hoping for a girl, said Jordan. A son would be lovely as well, but I think I want a girl more than anything else. A little daughter to love and spoil, yes, that would be everything that I want in the world. What about you? I am hoping for a girl as well, said Destiny. I have always preferred daughters over sons. If we do have a son, I will love it equally, but I just prefer a daughter at this point. What sort of names are you thinking of for our daughter? I was thinking of Marie, said Jordan. It was my mother's name. That is such a lovely name, said Destiny. I know, said Jordan. I always loved my mother's name. Do you have any ideas for names if is a girl? I was thinking of Chantal, said Destiny. Ah, said Jordan, I see. That is a beautiful name, and it really goes well with the situation. A name with a story behind it, what a lovely idea. I think Chantal would be extremely pleased by this as well, and after all that she has done for us while being here, I think that this is the least that we can do. That is true, said Destiny. Are you sure you like the name? We could consider Marie too if we don't like that one, or we could come up with a name that both of us want. No, said Jordan, I actually love that name. Even outside of its story and origin, I love that name. It has such an air of mystique to it, it seems to evoke so many different things. It sounds like the name of an international pop star. Destiny laughed and felt a sharp pain in her stomach. At first she thought that it was because she had laughed so hard, but then the sharp pain returned. She cried out once again and fell to her knees, clutching the swell of her belly. Destiny, said Jordan. What's wrong? Are you all right? I'm in pain, said Destiny. It really hurts. It's a sharp pain, I don't know what's going on. It's okay, said Jordan, whipping out his phone. It'll be all right. Jordan, said Destiny, Jordan, I am scared. I am so scared. Hush now, said Jordan, it will all be okay. Don't worry, it will be all right. Destiny started to cry as Jordan called Remy. He asked him to bring the doctor, Chantal, and Destiny's dad in the helicopter to the location he was sending him. Destiny could barely pay attention. All she could do was sob. She had lost her child, she just knew it. She knew that there was no coming back from this, that she was going to have to suffer the consequences for all she had done. Even though she had never done anything evil in her life, in fact she had been a very good person, she felt like she was being punished. And in that grief, she was completely and utterly inconsolable. The helicopter came, and Destiny barely realized what was happening to her. As she was placed in the helicopter and checked by the doctor and transported to a nearby hospital, all she could do right now was pray. All she could do was pray to her God and ask him to save her child's life. She did not even care about herself right now. All she cared about was the life of her child. Destiny's heart was pounding as she entered the hospital. Eisenhower yelled for a wheelchair, for something, anything. A bunch of doctors rushed in. It was clear that they had been told that something could go wrong, and they were prepared for it. It seemed odd to Destiny that she was being treated with so much special attention. She had never been treated like this, as she was just a black girl from the South. After all that had gone on, she realized that Jordan had made sure that she would be given the best medical care available, and that she would be provided with all of the help she could possibly use. It was a wonderful feeling, and it made her love Jordan all the more. They put her on a bed and checked her out, and made Jordan wait outside. The wait was extremely tough for him. He paced around, and nothing anyone could say could console him or make him feel better in any way. He had been so careful, he had put so much effort into trying to make Destiny comfortable, and to ensure that nothing would go wrong with her labor. All of that effort had been in vain, because she was now in danger along with her child. In spite of all of his best efforts, his child might not make it, and this was something that drove him utterly crazy. He walked around, anxiously panting and gasping, until he felt a comforting hand on his shoulder. He turned to see Arthur standing in front of him. The grief and fear was apparent on his face, but it seemed odd. It seemed masked somehow, like bright colors through a translucent sheet. It was clear to Jordan that Destiny's father was a very brave man, and that there was nothing in the world that could make him panic. "It's going to be all right, son," said Arthur. "Look, the doctors are doing everything they can. They have everything they could possibly need in there. She is in good hands, the best hands in fact. She is going to be all right, and she is going to make it. No matter what happens, she is going to make it." "How do you know that for certain?" asked Jordan. "What if something else happens? What if there are complications? What if something happens to my child?" "You have done absolutely everything you could possibly do," said Arthur. "You have taken care of her in a way that no one else would have been able to, and you have made sure that she came here to the hospital before anything serious happened. This is incredible. You did more for her than anyone could have thought. Listen, you did everything you could. That is something amazing given the severity of this situation. Now that all of this has happened, you need to relax because she might need you later on. She does not need you right now, but she just might need you later on, and if that time comes you will have to be ready for her, you will have to be strong. So sit down, son, and try to preserve your strength." Jordan sighed. Arthur was right. He sat down and buried his face in his hands. "No matter what I do, all that happened will mean nothing if she does not come out of this completely whole," said Jordan. "That is not your fault," said Arthur. He was rubbing Jordan's back. Jordan looked up at the man's face and saw the same stifled stress and fear. He hugged Arthur and said, "I just realized that is your daughter in there, not just the mother of my child." "That is true," said Arthur, "and I am quite scared of what could happen right now." Jordan looked at Arthur and said, "It's going to be okay." Arthur laughed and said, "It's okay. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking that in front of you is a guy who has not had a very good life. My wife died, and now my daughter might die too. If both of them die, I am not going to lie, it's going to destroy me. I will not see the point in living on. But if she lives, then it will all have been worth it. The loss of my wife, taking care of my little girl on my own, all of these things will have been worth it in the long run because I will have gotten her to this point, and I will be able to see my own grandchild." Jordan and Arthur sat next to each other, not saying anything but silently comforting one another all the same. There seemed to be an understanding between them. This was a truly difficult situation that the two of them were in, and in order to get past the situation they were going to have to work together. In order to get past this situation, they were going to have to be there for each other. Jordan saw Chantal up in a corner. He got up and walked to her, tapping her on the shoulder. She turned around and Jordan saw that tears were streaming down her face. She smiled and wiped the tears away. "Look at me," said Chantal, "crying in a corner while the mother of your child is in there. I'm sorry. I should be comforting you." "Hey," said Jordan, "I just got comforted by a guy whose daughter is in there. We all love her immensely, and we know that she is going to be here with us soon. She is your best friend. She is someone you love. Just because you don't have a direct relation to her does not mean that your stress in this situation is any less than ours." "I just don't know what to do," said Chantal. "I want to help out, but how? How can I make anything better? No, I just know how to come in and claim to be the smartest person in the room when in reality I do nothing. Nothing." "You have no idea how much you've helped us," said Jordan, desperate to calm Chantal down. You have comforted us, both of us, at times when we thought that there was no comfort to be found. And this is what I am saying. You can imagine what your best friend would say to you if she saw you right now, claiming that you do not do anything to help out. You do everything and more. You have helped us with absolutely everything. At that moment, the doctors came out of the surgery with grim faces. Everyone rushed to see what the doctors had to say. What happened? Asked Arthur before anyone was able to get a word in. What happened in there? It's all going to be okay, said the doctor. But the baby is crowning and it might not survive if we do not do something right now. Let's put it this way. The baby is desperate to get out of there. We need to operate and get it out so that it remains, and then we are going to be able to see what is really going on. What are the chances? Asked Jordan grimly. Look, said the doctor, we can't say anything until we operate. But we need your consent in order to do this. We need to know that you will not take legal action against us if anything happens, because this is a very risky surgery. Fine, said Jordan, do it. Just make sure she is all right, because even if I do not take any legal action, you can be damn sure that I am going to do everything in my power to make sure that you suffer. The doctors went back inside, wary of what might happen if they failed. Jordan sat on the chairs after pacing for a few minutes. He noticed all of the people walking by, and then realized that he was tired. He knew nothing after that, because he simply put his head back and slept. Jordan woke up to the sound of commotion. He saw that the doctors were outside and they were wringing their hands excitedly. Jordan ran up to them and asked what happened. The doctors responded that the operation had been successful. Both the mother and the baby were healthy and completely all right. Jordan felt dizzy for a second. He did not know what he was going to do now that everything was okay. It was a confusing feeling. It was almost like he was clueless about how he would rationalize his existence now that everything was over. But this feeling only lasted a minute or so, before fading away just like everything else that had been inside his mind just moments ago. He rushed into the operating room and saw that Destiny was awake. She was bright and smiling. "What happened?" he said. "Why are you awake so soon?" "I just woke up," she said to him. "I didn't want anyone to wake you up because I wanted you to rest for a bit. After all, there was nothing you could do while I was unconscious, right?" "That is true," said Jordan. "Where is the baby?" A nurse came from behind and showed them the child. She placed the child in Destiny's arms, and Destiny said, "It's a girl." "Little Chantal," said Jordan in a hushed whisper. She was the single most beautiful thing he had ever seen. "Listen," said Destiny, "I wanted to talk to you about something." "Yes?" asked Jordan. His heart was pounding. Was this it? Was this the moment of truth? "I didn't get enough time," said Destiny. "I just got 8 months and you said I would have 9. Jordan did not know how to respond. He wanted to say that it was not his fault that she had only gotten 8 months. He wanted to say that she had the option of taking another month before deciding. However, he did not get the chance to say anything at all, because in that moment, he saw Destiny smile. It was the most beautiful smile he had ever seen from her, and she was smiling with pure joy. "It's a good thing," said Destiny, "because I have already decided. It turns out I didn't need 9 months. I did not need any time at all. I just wanted to delay it because I was scared, but the fact of the matter is that the only reasons I can see are the reasons that show me that I should be with you. That is the truth of it. I love you, Jordan. I think that I have always loved you. And I always will love you, because you are the most important person in my life. Jordan started to cry. This was the only way that he was able to express his emotions. Now that he had Destiny, there was nothing else that he needed. All he wanted from life was right here in this room. He kissed Destiny's forehead and then Chantal's, and held them close. Today was the happiest day of his life. He would have gladly traded pretty much everything he owned for this. The months passed, and everything returned to normal. Little Chantal was a healthy and beautiful baby, and everyone loved her with all their hearts. After the stressful pregnancy and even more stressful labor, everybody was glad that the baby was out in the world now, and they all spoiled her immensely. Eventually, everyone had to return to their lives. Her father went back home, as did Chantal, little Chantal's godmother. Life went on, and Destiny was happy as could be. After it was done, they clung to each other and felt more love than each of them had ever felt before. This was the sort of love that was beyond description. This was the sort of love that you never expected to actually feel, because you assumed that it was only ever seen in storybooks. And yet, this was a love that they felt for each other. Destiny knew this to be true, and it gave her hope. It gave her hope for the future, for her daughter, and for everything else. And where there is hope, there can never be true grief. Far from grief, what she felt in this moment was nothing short of pure, unadulterated joy. And it was all that she ever wanted from life. The end.